ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Just give me a minute.
Do you want me to read Dr. Brahma?
Gurute. We were doing the 35th shloka. Swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. So yesterday we did, I think we came till the end of the verse, but we'll just repeat a little bit. Duties, rights, one and the same. I think we did this regarding varnashramas. Yeah, so Vedic culture is based on varna and ashrama. So that someone else also should do his or her duty. So if this is his job, he should do it without comparing himself to someone else. So if a Brahmana was supposed to, man is a Brahmana, he was supposed to only study and teach the Vedas. So this was with respect to the Vedic culture. The results of abandoning one's dharma. So in there, it was what was his role responsibility was defined by his birth as well as his and therefore his karma. Remuneration did not form the basis for choice of duty. Now these days what is happening is because it doesn't matter where you're born. You may be born to a Brahmana or to a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or Sudra, but remuneration becomes the important basis in the modern world. The results of abandoning one's dharma. Because many Brahmanas have abandoned their swadharma, there are very few people who are capable of performing the religious activities that the Brahmanas are responsible for. And these few tend to be those who cannot be engineers, doctors, businessmen, soldiers, and so on. This is why the so-called religious people of today are not truly religious. Suppose, however, remuneration and satisfaction are not the criteria in terms of what I do, because I was born in a particular family and because my aim is moksha. I know exactly what is to be done by me. My life becomes a preparation for moksha in that it enables my mind to become mature, to gain antakarana shuddhi. Preparing the mind in this way is not an ordinary task. One's entire lifetime may be necessary to make the antakarana mature, along with the numerous lifetimes that may have preceded this one. A person can reach his or her 80s and still have the old phobias and childhood problems that he or she had before. It seems as though one lifetime is not enough. And because each lifetime starts with the same innocence, we have the same problem for which there seems to be no solution. If inner maturity is such an important factor and moksha is to be gained, what money do you need to have beyond what you need to live a simple life? So, need-based living rather than greed-based living. Of course, you must be able to buy your food and other basic necessities. Therefore, the need for money depends entirely upon your aim. Because its vision is moksha, the Vedic society is based upon duties so that the mind may be purified and be able to grasp the vision. So the Vedic society, the vision was only moksha. It was not remuneration. It was not job satisfaction. So everyone aligned to their own swadharma. If the aim is moksha, then there is no competition. Which job you have is not an issue. And because you bring a certain attitude to it, you love doing the job that is yours to do. You know that what you require is maturity of mind, and that by performing what is to be done by you, you will gain it. Just give me a second. Please note that the Varnashrama system is not being prescribed to cure the ills of our society. The system itself has brought about many of these ills, and no system can work forever. But the Vedic vision of the system has a certain logic and spirit which is to be understood. The spirit behind the concept of duty is still valid. So we cannot apply the Vedic system to the current modern society, because with times we also have to change. But then the concept of duty is still valid. And that is what we'll see. Changing jobs is only necessary when the aim is money. Nowadays, there are even consulting agencies to advise you about your courses, which courses you should take, which field is currently open, where the easy jobs are, better jobs, more remunerative jobs. These agencies are staffed by people who earn money by giving such advice to others. The whole approach to learning and doing now has its basis in what will bring more money. For example, if a glut occurs in the field of chemical engineering, everyone becomes disinterested in that field and turns towards electronics. And when there is a glut there, those who are interested in electronics go into chemical engineering. Like this, everything keeps changing and people keep switching. Same thing happens also in medicine. Yeah. Glut is, the meaning is an excessive supply or overabundance of something, typically exceeding demand. Surplus, superabundance, and oversupply. So that is what the meaning of glut is. So if there is an oversupply in the field of chemical engineering, then there is no charm in that. Similarly, any field for that matter. Duties and rights are one and the same. When power and money are the criteria, your whole attitude changes. Whereas, if antakarana shuddhi is the main aim, what job you do means nothing, and how well you do it means a lot. To be underlined, this one. So it's not what job you do. If, number one, there are two aspects here. If power and money are not the criteria, then your whole attitude changes. Whereas, if antakarana shuddhi is the main aim, so what is your priority? Depending upon that, your inner attitude will change. So if antakarana shuddhi is your main aim, what job you do means nothing, but how well you do it means a lot. Therefore, in the Vedic society, there are only duties. There are no rights whatsoever. In fact, they are one and the same. We see this also in the American Constitution or in the Constitution of any country for that matter, where a person is granted certain rights, even the right to carry a gun. But along with that right are certain responsibilities. You must have a license and you cannot shoot simply because you happen to have a gun. Any right naturally implies a certain responsibility. You can emphasize the rights and spell out the responsibilities, the duties, which is what modern constitutions do. They specify the rights of citizens and then mention the duties associated with those rights. Or you can emphasize the duties and not mention rights at all. When you emphasize rights, you have to mention the duties and enforce them also. But when you emphasize the duties, you need not even mention the rights. Why is this? If you analyze duties, so what is being said here is that if you're emphasizing rights, along with rights come responsibilities. You need to tell them what they should not do. But whereas if you're emphasizing duties, then you don't need to emphasize rights. Why is this? If you analyze duties, you find that all duties are interpersonal and interrelated. Duties towards the devatas or gods, towards the forefathers, towards parents, towards other members of one's family, towards fellow beings, and all living creatures. In this way, you have widening circles of duty. So you find that all duties are interpersonal and interrelated. So duties towards the devatas or gods, towards the forefathers, all the naimitika karma, the shraddha, all of that, towards parents, which is what is talked about in the when during the Sandhya Upakarma, a person who is a bachelor, not yet married, is given three threads. One is to remind him his responsibilities, duties towards the society. One thread is duty towards his parents, and the other thread is duty towards his own to for his growth, his evolution towards the Shastra. If you analyze duties, you find that all duties are interpersonal and interrelated. So, duties towards the devatas or gods, forefathers, parents, other members of one family, towards fellow beings and all living creatures. In this way, you have widening circles of duties. In India, even today, the emphasis on duty is reflected in a person's speech. If you ask a man if he can come to see you, he will not say he has to go to work. He will not say he has to go to work. He will say he has duty. And if he takes up a new job, he will say he has duty. He has reported to duty. He's just coming from duty. This is his duty. This concept of duty is called dharma, swadharma, one's own duty. Being a husband, for example, is a role that comes with certain duties. There is no such person called husband. It is merely a role related to someone. A man is a husband to that person. And every role has a script, which is one swadharma. As a husband, then, a man performs his duties according to the script, swadharma. In this way, his wife receives certain rights. Similarly, in her role as a wife, she also performs her duties, and as her husband, he receives his rights. How can either person's rights be denied when each one performs his or her swadharma? So we'll just park this here. So what is being said here is that if you have a role, that of a husband, then you of course have certain duties to perform. But because he is related, because it's all interrelated, right? The whole concept of duty is that of interrelation or interdependence. That is what was talked of in the beginning. So, which is why we will have to um, see all duties are interpersonal and interrelated. Duties towards devatas, forefathers, parents. So, between the husband and wife, the role no doubt comes with certain duties. But because he's related to someone, he's related to a wife. So the husband is not just it is only a role. And that role is in relationship with his wife. So therefore, he does his duties according to his swadharma. But then he also his wife receives certain rights. There are some rights that the wife receives. What are those rights? Number one, that the husband is will take care of her, will support her, will finance her. If for instance she's a housewife, take care of her needs, is loyal to her. So these are the rights that the wife gets. Similarly, in her role as a wife, she also performs her duties. And as her husband, he receives his rights. So how can either person's rights? So supposing she's a housewife, she's working, then yes, they will both need to chip in certain ways. But if she's a homemaker, she has her responsibilities will be towards keeping the home neat and tidy, cooking for the family, taking care of their needs, nurturing the family, basically. That is her duty. And these are the rights that the husband and the rest of the family have. So, how can either person's rights be denied when each one performs his or her swadharma? So, if each one, if the wife is performing her role and the husband is performing his role, then rights automatically are taken care of, each other's rights. Similarly, as a citizen, I perform my duties. The state also performs its duties, which become my rights as a citizen. So you see, everybody is doing their duties. If the emphasis is on duty, then the emphasis on rights does not require to be made because everyone is doing his or her duty, and these duties are interrelated, they're interpersonal. The certain citizens' duties become the state's rights, isn't it? The duty of a citizen is to maintain public order, is to not damage public property. So that becomes the state's rights. Therefore, all that we have are duties. So when you actually boil it down, when you tease it down, it becomes clear that it is not rights based living, but duty based living. And if everybody is doing his or her own duty, then there is no question of right because the other person's rights are automatically fulfilled. For instance, if we can say Mother's nature, Mother Earth's rights are that we do not pollute her, we do not overutilize the resources, we do not um, misuse the environment. That is the right. So if our duty is to conserve energy, to preserve environment, to ensure that we're doing environment friendly activities, then automatically the rights are taken care of. Rights of Mother Earth are taken care of. So rights come to us as a natural consequence, but we do not go after them. We do not command or demand our rights. We won't try only to perform our duties. Only when we do what is to be done by us is antakarna shuddhi possible. When our likes and dislikes are one thing and our duty is quite another, we put aside our likes and dislikes and go by duty. In the process, everyone gets his or her right and there is no fight. To demand one's right always means fights. One person says, "This is my right," and the other person says the same. Neither person will fight saying, "This is my duty." Mm. This is exactly what is happening right now in the world, right? Every country says it's my right to have a nuclear weapon. And which is why this whole thing started off, this war. Rather than this is my duty. What is happening right now is not that of live and let live. It is only live by killing. live by trampling the other person down to become powerful. Because why? Money and power have become the emphasis, have become the aim. It is not moksha, it is not antakarana shuddhi. So, no matter that we are not following Vedic society here in the modern world, because of with time, there is a lot of change and we have to embrace the evolution with change, which is fine. So, we cannot sit and regret, oh, I'm not following the Vedic culture now and get into conflict. So, having resolved that conflict because of changing times, what we need focus is it should be a duty based living, need based living. When we do this, when we do our duty correctly to the best of our ability, other person's rights, because we live in an interdependent society, the other person's rights are automatically taken care of. If, for instance, that doctor's duty is to be seeing the patient or appointment patients on time, that is the right of the patient who's taken an appointment. So if the doctor is doing his or her duty right and is going to work on time, then automatically the right of the patient is taken care of. On the other hand, if the doctor takes his own sweet time to reach the hospital, what is he doing? He's trampling upon the patient's rights. Same thing in a family. If the housewife suddenly decides, oh, I'm doing all this every day, I want to take a break, then what is happening to the rights of the family members, that of the husband, right? So every aspect, every sphere, whatever we are, our role is given at that particular time. If we perform that to the best of our ability, the rights of the other people who are dependent on us will automatically be taken care of. So therefore, you don't need to live life demanding your rights. You just live life accomplishing your duty. Any sharing here before we go further? There is no demand in duty. Duty is either done or not done. In the concept of duty, there is no demand whatsoever. Whereas when one's rights are emphasized, there is always an element of demand. And wherever there is demand, there are denials and counter demands. The result, natural results of demanding. This is because no one has the right to demand. And when he or she has not fulfilled the demands of the other person, when you do right to me, that I should write back to you. When did you write to me that I should write back to you? When did you take me out that I should take you out? When did you phone me that I should phone you? Why didn't you visit me when I was ill? Why should I visit you now that you are ill? So, this is because no one has the right to demand when he or she has not fulfilled the demands of the other person. So, this is denials, demand, and counter demands. That is how the whole world is right now. It's moving with this, unfortunately. People have forgotten their duties, they're only stuck up with their rights. Because when there is a demand, there will be a denial as well as counter demands. Whereas when the concept of duty is, when you focus yourself on duty, there is no demand whatsoever. Whereas when one's rights are emphasized, there is always an element of demand. So you go on saying this, When did you write to me that I should write? When did you come home? Should I come to your house? When did you keep up my commitment? So I should keep up your commitment. So it is always with respect to whether your rights have been fulfilled by the other person or not. Demand means there is always a rub in the form of a counter demand or denial. There is friction. We see this in our own homes and in the society in which we live. Daily life is nothing but demands and more demands. Mhm. This one D has to be changed to the other D, duty. Daily life should be nothing but duty and more duties. When people are always demanding, the society will naturally be a demanding one. We can see this by reading the newspaper columns. Everything is one continuous demand. Even groups are demanding. Teachers, nurses, doctors, patients, ethnic groups, males, females, states, and so on. The gods also seem to have become demanding. They seem to say, unless you remember us, no rain for you. If you don't remember us, bang, an earthquake. When you have duties, you will find there is amity. And because you can never fulfill your duties completely, there is also humility. What the meaning of amity is friendly, peaceful, and harmonious relations between people, groups, or nations. Amicus, amicable, all that has come from this term amity. Synonyms include harmony, friendship, accord, cordiality, and goodwill. This is what the world is right now requiring amity amongst the warring nations. So, when you have duties, you will find there is amity. But whereas when you have demands, you will find that there are denials and counter demands. And because you can never fulfill your duties completely, there is also humility. But if each person at least tries to fulfill his or her duties, as father and son or husband and wife, for example, they will meet somewhere. In doing so, understanding is possible. Otherwise, there are problems. This is why dharma is called Manava Dharma or Manusha Dharma, the dharma of a human being. So rather than be at crossroads, they will work towards one common goal. So take the example of a family. No doubt it's the housewife's duty to cook and nurture the family. But supposing she is ill or sick or for some reason is not able to complete her duty. So she's trying her best to do it. But there is also humility that comes with it. So she can always request. And then the father or son or rest of the family can always chip in. So they will meet somewhere. They will not say, this is my right, I demand this. So there is that harmonious relationship that ensues at home. So each one is helping the other around. But then the bottom line is one should focus and emphasize on duties rather than demands, rather than rights. Because if the husband says it's my right to be fed no matter what, and the wife is not able to do that because she is ill, then there is no understanding, right? There is only disharmony. But when there is, each one is trying to do his own duty to the best of their ability, then there is some understanding that crops up rather than demand. Can there be any other basis for our interaction with each other that will benefit us all? If people are to live together at home, in a community, in the society, or globally, this is the only way. There is no other way. What is that way? That our interaction with each other will benefit us all. So, parasparam bhavayantah. Our Shastra even goes further and tells us to take into account all the forces. Cosmically speaking, also, then, there is only one way: appreciating one's position, one's situation, one's station, seeing what is to be done, and doing it. Following one's own dharma, swadharma anushtana in this way, and not that of someone else, is the very basis of karma yoga. I'll just read the previous line, the paragraph. So, when you have duties, you will find there is amity, there is harmony. And because you can never fulfill your duties completely, there is also humility. So let's deliberate on this and talk about this. So when you cannot fulfill your duties completely, there is also humility. So with humility comes what? A non-demanding nature. With humility comes only understanding. Even the wife has his right to say, husband has to provide her with so many things. And supposing the husband loses his job for some reason, right? Now, will the wife say, go on with the right? Or will there be understanding? So the husband is trying to do his best, but then that is how the situation is. So therefore, there is an element of humility that crops in, which dilutes the rights that each person sets into demanding. Rights automatically lead to demands. But here, when there is humility, there is understanding. Very beautiful. I mean, Swamiji is going layer by layer, right? So it's not, of course, yes, it's duty based living. But along with that comes humility. And with that humility comes understanding. And then life is so beautiful, right? It will not be conflict based. It will not be demand based. It will be understanding based, accepting based on acceptance. So let's share our thoughts on this. So this is the way forward. Can there be any other basis for our interaction with each other that will benefit us all? If people are to live together at home, in a community, in the society, or globally, this is the only way. There is no other way. Our Shastra goes even further and tells us to take into account all the forces. Cosmically speaking, also, then, there is only one way: appreciating one's position, one's situation, one's station, seeing what is to be done and doing it. Following one's own dharma, swadharma anushtana in this way, and not that of someone else, is the very basis of karma yoga. So when you follow your dharma, your duty, your roles, and your responsibility at that time, rather than go after someone else's dharma, because that seems to be more lucrative, that seems to be more convenient to do. So you stay with your commitment towards your role. No matter how hard it is. The job of a municipal cleaner is to sweep the roads and keep the environment clean. So if he relegates his duty and he says, I'm not enough, I've done a lot of cleaning, I like to do some clerical job, and he goes and does some clerical job, that job of the municipal cleaner is left empty. Imagine what would happen. Same thing with the garbage trucks. I really have a lot of empathy for them. The garbage trucks and whoever mans the garbage cans, they have to bear with all that, the stench and all that, picking up all that garbage. If they said, oh, this is difficult, it's not a nice thing to do, and if no one was coming forward to do their job, can you imagine what will happen to the world and society and the environment? So it is not based on our ragas and dveshas. It's not based on convenience. It is based on what is to be done by us at that point. What is our role? What is our responsibility? What are we cut out to do? And this parasparam bhavayantaha, because one's duty becomes the right of another. That is the interdependence. Nature has its right to remain pristine. Nature has its right to be unpolluted. When each of us does our duty to protect nature, then the rights are automatically taken care of. But you will be breaching the rights of another by not performing your own duty. And when everybody tries to perform their duty, because it is not possible all the time to perform one's duty to the best of our ability, there are so many factors involved. There is the element of humility, which leads to understanding.
Jai Gurudev.
Yeah.
That's why in Sanskrit, such a beautiful term for the responsibilities role. All these words, daitvam. Our role, if we are able to fulfill in the best, joyful, cheerful way, then I think there will be all the complaints within the family or community or society or at global level, they will disappear. So beautifully it is mentioned here. And the example of that nut and bolt, each one, and the role of prarabdha also, I was talking like last week we were discussing. In the prarabdha, when there is something destined, and yesterday's your knowledge sheet which you shared, Dr. Brahmaraji, on the group, We feel that I am doing it, but it's already predestined. Everything, I believe, the very existence, it is destined. So when one accepts this prarabdha also joyfully, cheerfully, and go ahead, that whatever I'm given, the situation or the role or the responsibilities, whether as a professional or at a personal level, when one does that with joy, with cheerfulness, then I'm sure there will be peace and harmony at all the levels. Jai Gurudev.
Yeah, very right. Gurudev has so beautifully put in all of this in the happiness program. He's brought in the aspect of happiness, he's brought in the aspect of needs and responsibilities. And the beautiful five knowledge points that help us get out of our, neutralize our ragas and dveshas. So basically, the whole happiness program is karma yoga. And very skillfully is brought in the aspect of divinity there with chanting Om. That is why Om is so important. Because if it has to be universally acceptable, which is what it is, yeah, it's a deviation from what we're doing here now. But then we all should be so grateful that we have this ability, we have this opportunity to walk on this path. So, having said all this, Lord Krishna might have become quiet, whereupon Arjuna asked a question. Arjuna uvacha atha kena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha anichannapi varshneya baladiva niyojitaha. Arjuna uvacha said, Varshneya, O descendant of the Vrishnis, that is Krishna, Atha, now, Anichin, Anichan, api, while even while not desiring, I am this Purushaha person, Kena, by what, Prayuktaha, impelled, Balat iva, as though by force, Niyojitaha, pushed, Papam, sin, Charati, commits. Arjuna Uvacha, Varshneya, अथ अनिच्छन्नपि अयं पुरुषः केन प्रयुक्तः बलात् इव नियोजितः पापं चरति. Such a relevant question Arjuna had. Arjuna said, impelled by what does a person commit sin? As though pushed by some force, even though not desiring to, O Varshneya. Previously, it was pointed out that there are likes and dislikes with reference to every sense object, and all you have to do is not fall under their spell. Tayoho vasham na agachet. It was also said that even though one's swadharma, what one must do, is not very pleasant, it is better to follow that than to follow someone else that is more pleasing and convenient. So, swadharme nidhanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. This was also seen. And every object comes with the dual nature of raga and dvesha. So, tayohu vasham na agachet. Don't fall under that spell, is what was talked of earlier. Hearing all of this in terms of karma yoga, Arjuna asked, what is it that impels a person to perform an action that he or she knows is not proper? Some kind of pleasure may be there, but still the person knows that the action is not becoming and will produce sin, dukkha. If the person did not know, of course, it would be different and understandable. So I repeat this. So hearing all of this in terms of karma yoga, Arjuna asked, what is it that impels a person to perform an action that he or she knows is not proper? Some kind of pleasure may be there, but still the person knows that the action is not becoming and will produce sin, dukkha. If the person did not know, of course, it would be different and understandable. So having known, doing this. Why? What is that that impels a person? It's called prajna parad. In fact, in the Ashtavakra Gita that we're listening to, is Gurudev, it is called prajna aparad. That is, you know that it is not to be done. You're aware of that, but still you end up doing it. Why does a person do a karma that he or she knows to be an improper action? Kena prayuktaha papam charati purushaha. Purushaha, purushaha eva purushaha. The word purusha is the same as purusha, meaning a person. Vrishni is the name of one of the ancestors of Krishna by whose name the entire clan is known. Because he belongs to the clan of Vrishnis, he is known as Varshneya. However, this word can be interpreted differently. Brahmanandam varshati iti Vrishnihi samyak bodhaha tena avagamyate iti Varshneya. That which showers one, or that which showers on one, the fullness of Brahman is called Vrishni. The clear knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Vidya, the one who is known by this knowledge is Varshneya. How beautiful this is. Janami dharmam. This is for the later what Duryodhana talks of. So, Brahmanandam varshati iti Vrishnihi. Samyak bodhaha. Tena avagamyate iti Varshneya. So, the direct meaning is of Varshneya is because Krishna belongs to the clan, one of his ancestors of which was Vrishni. But the other beautiful implied meaning is that who showers the fullness of Brahman, the clear knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Vidya, which is what he's doing in the whole of Bhagavad Gita. So, Arjuna described such a person as one who as though, eva, impelled or pushed into performing improper actions by some force. Balat niyojitaha. Niyojita implying a devilish force. Further, the person is pushed into it even though he or she does not want to do it. The person knows it is not right, anichan, meaning that he or she does not have any real intellectual value for performing such action, but still it is done. Why? Impelled by whom? Kena prayuktaha? This was Arjuna's question. Such a refined person Arjuna is, he's able to see that slight difference. He's picked up that thread and says, what is it that impels one, as though impelling one to do things which are not right? Duryodhana was once asked, why do you do all this papa karma? You come from a good family and have been brought up so well. You are a prince. What impels you to do such things? In a verse attributed to him, Duryodhana responded, I know what is right, janami dharmam, and I know what is not right, janami adharmam. My problem is not that I have any innocence or confusion with reference to what is right and wrong. The problem is that I know dharma, but I do not pursue it. Janami dharmam nachame pravrittihi. And I know adharma, but I cannot refrain from it. Janami adharmam nachame nivrittihi. Duryodhana then went on to say, in whichever way I am impelled by the one sitting in my heart, in that way I do. Kenapi devena hridi stitena yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. It may have been a person or a force, but Duryodhana did not know who or what it was. Thus, Duryodhana and Arjuna had the same question. Who or what is it that is sitting in the mind, forcing the person to do what he or she knows to be wrong, even when the person does not want to do it? So, janami dharmam nachame pravrittihi, janapi adharmam nachame nivrittihi. Kenapi devena hridistitena yatha niyuktosmi tatha karomi. So beautiful. What you should not be, Duryodhana is portraying there. Krishna answered this question in the next verse. We'll take this up tomorrow. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha mahashano mahapapma vidyena miha vairinam. So Bhagavan says, this desire, this anger born of the gunas, rajas, is a glutton and a great sinner. Know that to be the enemy here in this world. We'll take this up tomorrow. So very beautiful how Krishna, Arjuna's question, a very concise question, very appropriate question he had was, impelled by what does one commit a sin? As though pushed by some force, even though not desiring to. Anyone would like to share?
Yeah, that was very beautiful. That question from Arjuna.
Mm,
He really picks it up, right? Given all that information,
yeah.
he precisely get that question nicely. Um, yeah, I mean, that was, and then Duryodhana's answer also very, very clearly, given he doesn't know what is pushing him, but he is pursuing that other action. He is knowingly doing it, right?
Yeah.
So that this two lines you just read, Bhagavan Vacha, how
Mm,
appropriate, the desire is what prompts that, and then the anger and born of the Rajoguna.
mm. That is why our aim should be to go more towards Sattva Guna.
Mm.
Vat sanjayate. The Sattva is that which revels in knowledge.
Right. See, the Rajoguna is mostly like action oriented, right? And that action doesn't really say that what type of action. More towards the desire oriented to achieve things.
Yeah, Rajoguna can be, if it is directed by Sattva Guna,
Mm.
it will be appropriate.
Better, yeah,
But if Rajoguna is taking the upper hand,
right.
then Sattva will go to the background. Then,
Yeah, I mean, you're not completely one or the other, right? It's
yeah,
all
it's a
combined,
mix.
but
It's a combination.
predominantly, yeah, you want to have
Yeah,
sattvic,
yeah.
which is the knowledge. So if you
Mm,
have better knowledge, you make better decisions
yeah.
also. Mm.
So we'll stop here today and take it up tomorrow.
Thank you.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
Okay. Dr. Brahma, are you doing that sadhana daily still?
Yeah, it's going on now. If you want, you
Oh,
can
it
join
is.
in. Yeah.
Okay, the
Every-
same thing, right? Same.
The one that I sent earlier,
Okay, I'll look it up
um, I put it in the, I think it's there in the group
in the
description.
group. Oh, in
Yeah.
the group description? Okay. Okay.
I think so. Let me just check if it is there.
Okay. Thank you so
Otherwise, I'll
much.
send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I put it in the group description. Oh, online sadhana at 6 a.m. That is the one. You
Oh,
can
I
log.
see.
Okay.
Okay. Got it. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Okay.
Gurudev.
Bye.
Bye.